group, you know, like the way you have to deal with them when you're rapping and the way they rap to you. I mean, do you rap to a white the same way you would rap, say, if you came to me and sold me, you know, somebody else, like a brother down the street here? Like, how would you talk? Because I know I rap a little different when I'm dealing with whites. Because I use a little different English. You know?
Well, you're going to change up. If you walk into an individual's house and you can see, let's say, money, you see that the house is very neatly furnished and they're of a economical standard. True, you're going to talk to them in a different way, more or less in a positive manner. You're not going to speak on, let's say, your Chevy type systems. You're more or less going into your Cadillac systems because basically that's what their economic standards are.
I'm interested in how you talk to them. Like when you say talking to me, you might say, "Look, I got this really good system, bro," and like this and that. You're not going to say to a white person, "Hey, you bro, I got this for you," and all that.
No.
That's what I'm saying. So you're going to be a little bit rapping, a little bit different. You're going to like
Yeah,
so that's what I'm trying to say.
Your
Give me
conversation,
your white rap,
your conversation, like I said, depending upon who you're talking to, basically it's going to be straight. Okay, the bro slur language, that's street talk. You know, if you're talking to somebody on the street, that's into that bro type thing. You know, okay, you want to throw that there because you want to make them feel like you're part of their system.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
When you move to a higher class, hey, you got to cut that out. You know, that's not in their language. They don't understand what bro means or solid, what's happening, brother, or all this other stuff. They don't understand what that means, you know, even though it still could be a good vibration. You know, but basically when you first start talking in that particular area, you don't want to come from there. You know, usually when you use that type bro, brother, back and forth, you know, it reflects first on your intelligence, okay,
good or
on
bad?
your... Well, that's going to depend upon who you're talking to. If you're talking to a more or less higher echelon, it's going to be bad. You know, it's not a positive
Jerry,
feeling. Yes.
you said higher echelon. Let me ask you this. Do you feel or do you know for a fact from working with people, and you do work with a lot of people, do you feel that there's a specific way that you must speak with different blacks? Are some blacks a part of that upper echelon of speaking?
Most definitely.
As well as, so to speak, whites?
When I say higher echelon, okay, I'm not basically defining race. Okay, I'm looking at the economic level of the individual. Okay, when you have an economic level, most of the time you have an educational level. So therefore, they're going to speak to you in, let's say, English conversation without a lot of street slur, slang, or whatever.
Okay.
You know, in which basically you have that between Italians, white, Greeks, it don't matter.
Let me ask you another question.
You can. You just got to get down with the street talk. You know, it's a time to get down and it's a time to get up.
How about you? Can you do both? Can you get down and get up?
Well, I've been in Philadelphia now, and I'm from a poor family. You know, I wasn't raised in Philadelphia, but I've been here for the past 24, 25 years. Okay, if it comes to it, I can adapt myself to any situation. You know, I look at people as people. You know, if they talk to me in a straight down home type fashion, hey, I can get down with them to let them know I have the vibe too. If they're coming from me from a more or less higher educational level, hey, I'm going to do my best to get right with them and talk basically the same language they do. Therefore, we're going to be basically on the same vibe. You know, understanding each other, you know, basically the same.
What's your most natural way? What's the real you?
Me. I'm just me. You know, I think I speak good English and I have intelligence and intellect. You know, I just be myself.
You think
just
you
be
speak
myself.
different in Philadelphia?
Well, I've been told by several people just my manner of talking or whatever, they can tell that I'm not a Philadelphian.
Well, what do they think?
Know? Well, they know I'm not a Philadelphian. Then
They
you
don't
know,
know
they know pretty much South.
Yeah, South.
You know, yeah. You
So
know,
you
I had a
think you
few
got a
people
little
think I'm
Southern.
from Jamaica or something like that. I don't
Really?
know what it is. You know, I can't tell.
When do you ever go back to Baltimore?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, when you're there, that you sound like everybody else in Baltimore?
Well, I can tell that they sound different than I do.
Oh, you
You
do?
know, I
Baltimore?
still have the, I guess what you call the dialect. You know, it's like in Philadelphia. You can go up North Philly and get a different language. You can go down South Philly and get a different language. You can come out West Philly and get a different language. Same thing for Germantown.
You can tell the difference?
You know, you can tell the difference.
Than you, I think.
Yes, I can.
You can.
Yes, I
You
can.
can tell where I came from?
Yeah.
How?
Jerry.
How?
Yeah, let me.
What give
How?
you the impression where I came from when I speak?
I guess it would be the hardness in your voice.
The hardness.
The hardness in
So
your
where'd I
voice.
come from?
Well, we've already said it, North
I
Philly,
told you.
but basically, I would even say it would be either from North or South Philly. Either one of the two.
I was come from Georgia.
You know, I beg your pardon?
Georgia.
Georgia?
I have a Georgia accent.
That's possible too, yeah.
My descendants are from Georgia.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a hard game to play.
It is.
That's a hard game
It
to
is.
play.
You were
It's
born
like
here,
six
right?
in one hand and
Yeah.
half dozen in the
Yeah.
other, you know, but you can tell it's like a vibration thing. You know, it's not too much what they say out of their mouth, it's how they say it. You know, because, you know, you can meet a person for the first time and automatically draw an opinion, I'm not going to like him. We're not going to get along together. And you don't know him from Adam or Eve just from what he have said and how he have said it out of his mouth. You know, it's a vibration type thing. You know, and I guess it's something that you accumulate by dealing with the public. I've been dealing with the public back and forth now for the past 24, 25 years. So some things that you do pick up and it comes automatically. You may not be able to explain it, but you'll be right on it. You'll be right on it.
Let me ask you a question, and even though she's from Philadelphia, you gotta forget her. Forget
Okay.
that she's here. You think people in Philadelphia speak good English?
Do they speak good English? Good English.
Or you like the way they talk to you?
I like the way they talk to me, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, they speak good English. I guess we call it good broken English. You know,
Probably
because,
better than Baltimore, right?
you have broken English all over the place.
New
You know,
North
it's
Philadelphia.
really rough to find somebody to speak true, good English. Their pronunciation, their words, their vowels coming straight out.
Have you
You'll
seen
find a
anybody like
foreigner.
that?
You'll find a foreigner just learning the language will speak better English than we do ourselves.
You ever
You know,
seen
we have
anybody
a
like
habit
that?
of slurring and, you know, letting everything slide into one another,
Lazy
in which,
mouth.
yeah,
You
you
ever
can call
seen
it
any
that.
blacks that you, I mean, in your travels and stuff around Philly that you say spoke real good standard English?
Yes,
I mean,
I
really?
have.
You have?
Yes. You know, and they've proved to be of an educational level, college background and what have you.
Did you go to college?
How did it
No, I
sound?
didn't.
Sound
Can
like
you
you did.
demonstrate something that's
Why do you say it sounds like you've been in college?
Okay, when I first met Jerry, he sounded like he was on a high level, a real high level, the way he was, speaking to me. You know,
Give us
he
an
sounded like he's a
example.
smart man.
Give me an example,
Too
though.
smart for me.
Yeah, so
Everything he says, it's like it's perfect. You know,
like what?
everything.
Well, give me an example. Give me a phrase or term or something he would say that, you know, I know if you heard this,
Talk
you
about
should
the
have it
sound
in
like-
mind.
come
You
with
don't
the
have, your
sound
voice
like,
don't have to sound like you, but try to use his words, you know. What does he say?
Term he's a name he calls us. What's the name you call us?
The
The
name.
name you use for us, me and Anthony. It's a name you call us.
And you said he talked good? Did you think that was a good
Yes.
Did you feel comfortable about that?
No, I felt it hurt my feelings, but I got over it.
Why did it hurt you?
He's teaching me. I thought he's teaching me more. You know, as far as the language, talking to
Your feelings
conversation.
get hurt when you learn?
Sure, it do. You know, when you
Yeah.
think you know it.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Sure you do.
You thought you knew
Right.
English good enough, huh?
Right, I did, but I don't. You know,
What do you think now?
some of the words come out the wrong way. He correct me sometimes on my words.
you know, some that's using the wrong word for the definition that she's trying to use. You know, putting the wrong word with the improper definition. You know, I don't know.
Y'all have kids?
No.
No.
Well, I have children.
You
You know,
have
she
children?
have children
Oh,
too.
okay. How do you like your kids to speak? What do you try to? Do they talk the way you want them to talk?
My children speak especially well. My children, they speak real well.
Yeah?
All three of them do.
They don't speak like you then?
Not at all.
Well-
Especially the baby.
Rose, do you appreciate the way they speak?
Yes.
You think it's an improvement over
Yes,
the
I
way
do.
you speak? So you would encourage it to continue.
Right.
So in other words, you can appreciate them actually learning from the way Jerry speaks.
What you do?
That's saying Jerry speaks real good then.
But she already said.
You think Jerry speaks real good? Like your
Well,
kids?
Educated. You know, that's how they speak. I'm educated, but like
You know, a lot of time your speech, that also not necessarily come from education. It can come from association. You know, if you're around people that's speaking good English, good dialect on an educational level, even though you haven't went through the college or whatever that they have, being around them long enough, you're going to pick up that same particular dialect. You're going to learn more words that's not in your vocabulary and the meaning and the proper places to use them. You know, to more or less express yourself in various ways without expressing yourself the way the normal street talk is. You know, the normal street talk expresses themselves in another way. You know.
Do you think we should get rid of that? I mean, some people have this argument that all street talk is useless. Some people, like myself, feel it's part of our culture,
It's
and I
never
feel
useless.
it's valuable.
There's a message. There's a message in just about everything people says. You know, if you listen, right, and ignore the, I guess you would call it, the uneducational factor in the manner that they speak and listen to what they say, you'll still get the same message, even though they're using bruh and slang and, you know, the message is there.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I'm not
But
trying to
if
put
you
a
take American or the average person out here to learn another language other than his own, okay, then he can hear himself. You know, you'll find, like it was stated, most foreigners will speak better English than we do. But they're into 2-3 different languages. So they can hear the different dialects and where they're going wrong. And hey, practice makes perfect. Let's be for real. A language is a language, whether you're born with it or not. But if you don't use it properly, and if you don't practice saying the proper words back, and hey, in every language there's words that's just hard to say. You know, so you're going to slur it out and come out as close as you can. You know, so, you know, if we would get into learning other languages, I really do believe that would help our own pronunciation of our own language in every lie. Okay, so if you more or less are into it and aware enough to pull that truth, that's why we have judges. Okay, because they can see the truth in a lie. Okay, so you can hear the truth in street talk. You know,
let me ask you something. You seem to have a special. You got a gift that you said you can get down if you have to, you can get up if you have to.
Oh, please don't ask me that.
No, I'm not trying to ask you to do it. I'm just saying that a lot of people can't do that. Okay.
Okay.
So what do you suggest? I mean, what do you know? If somebody, let's say somebody speaks street talk and they can't talk another way, what do you say to them?
Let them be themselves. Just let them be themselves. You may have to listen more to determine what they're trying to say or to get their, you know, them getting their meaning across to you. You may have to listen more. But if you yourself are somewhat into the language, that shouldn't be no problem.
Do you think, though, that, I mean, if you're talking about black people, maybe you find people into the language, as you say, even though that might not be their natural way of talk. But when you go to South Philadelphia or something like that and you talk that way, don't you think there might be some problems?
Might be some problems.
You see what I'm saying?
That all depends upon who you're talking to. We got illiterates in all of us. You know, in all the races, it don't matter. We got illiterates, people that you just can't get along with. You can't get a word across to them. They think they know from A to Z, right? And they don't even know what the second letter of the alphabet is. You know, with sincerity.
Hey, what it be like,
instead
man?
of this,
What it be
hey,
like,
bro,
you know?
what's up?
Yeah, what it be
You
like?
know,
How you
that's
doing?
that cool, hip type, slick thing, you know? Right then and there, somebody approached me, I said, I gotta watch this cat, boy, he might be a screwdriver. You know, instead of someone that comes up there and grab
They
my
can
hand
screw you
and
just
hold
as
it
well.
like, hey,
Somebody can do
you
this.
know,
Hello,
I'm
Jerry,
glad to
how are
meet
you today?
You know?
And screw the shit out of you.
You know, now as far as Caesar's
Really?
concerned, you said he can't
Don't you know
talk.
people dress in suits and do embezzlements and
I'm
rob
sure they
people and
do.
do all kind of
I know.
shit? So
Hey,
it's not, you're talking
look,
about form.
It's not
So
the
you-
cover
you're
of the
getting-
book.
Yeah, but
It's
that's
not
what you're
the cover
talking
of
about.
the
You
book.
said if somebody
It
come
was-
up and say, yo, bro, how it be? What it be like? You're going to say, oh,
That's
that
what
man
I'm saying.
might screw me.
That's what I'm
you know?
saying. It's not the slang that you're trying to get the meaning of what he's saying from. It's your knowledge, right, of the English language, okay, comparing it with what he's trying to say. Either way, it get back to the true language. You know, if he's saying bro, hey, the true language for that would be brother. Okay?
Standard to learn and be articulate with and be able to use. But we also found out a lot of the black kids coming from their own culture background and having that we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to hook up with Jerry around 10 o'clock and all that. But let me call Joe Garvey right now and get something straight. Now, Joe, you know, well, he didn't say the word hook up, but he said some other stuff similar to that, right? So he said, let me call Joe Garvey. He picked up the
phone, right? Your first impression is your best impression. Okay?
Yeah, I know, but
now,
we're not
if you're
talking
writing
about
an
just first
individual a
impression.
letter for the first time, you want to use the best handwriting that
That's
you can
true.
do.
But I'm saying
because
people
when they
do it,
first look
Jerry.
at that letter, or the front of, they ain't got to open it up. They just look at the envelope.
Right.
Right. The first thing they're going to see is
That's true, but you do that past the first
educational
impression.
or uneducational.
Yeah, but
It's the
look,
same thing
go
when you
past
talk
the
to
first impression, Jerry. I'm saying you
And
do
you
it
can't
past
get
that.
past the
no,
first
I'm saying
impression.
no. I'm saying you put on your thing for the first impression, but you continue to do it. Like I said, he already know Joe, so his first impression with Joe was to give that type of speech, and he continues to do it. I'm saying once you start it with whites, you're gonna always do it with them, no matter how well you know them. I'm saying it's not just a first impression. Carlos Caesar would do that with every white that he's with, even if he's with that white 100 times.
tell you something.
But
Listen to myself.
Caesar, you can't help it. I heard you use
I say
slang.
certain things, man. I will
Unconsciously, yeah.
use slang.
Unconsciously.
Right now,
But
if you
believe
take
me,
Caesar long
if
enough,
you
you hear
are-
him use slang
I
and
will
stuff.
use certain slang because it is normal.
Here's
I
something
will
about
not
that.
use
Here's
a
something
complete
about that.
language of slang.
When you're talking with a
That's the
close
difference.
friend that knows you, you're basically going to
Exactly.
speak without thinking. Okay?
Well, he do
You
that
wait a
with
minute,
whites,
wait a minute,
too. He
wait a
do it
minute.
with whites.
You're going to say what you're
Everybody
going to
use
say, and if you
some
come
slang,
up with
even
a
white,
few
huh?
slangs, it don't matter.
Don't
'cause
say you
you're
can't get
talking,
rid of it. You're gonna
You're
get rid of
talking
it.
with an individual that knows you,
Yeah.
that knows you're all right, you're a good person, you're honest, and you deal straight up and level, right?
Yeah.
But when you're talking to an individual for the first time, and you're really looking into dealing to a business factor,
Oh, yeah.
almost before you speak, you're going to hear yourself talking to your head.
Yeah, that's right.
And if it don't sound in here, you can take a minute and put the proper word in the place where you would normally come out with a street slur language. You don't want to use that. There's a
See,
time and a place
That's
for
true.
everything.
But you know the difference? When I watch Caesar and you talking what y'all call your standard formal English, it's hard to determine whether y'all are fully relaxed. When Caesar or you or both are real relaxed, I don't care if you're with President Reagan or anybody white in this damn United States,
just said-
y'all slip
you
up.
just said
Y'all
a
will
good
slip
thing.
up. Wait,
Here's the thing.
no,
man.
y'all
Here's
will
the
slip
thing.
up. And when you relax, you can tell when you relax.
That's the key
'cause
word.
that's when it come out.
That's
When you're
the key
relaxed.
word.
When
Relax.
you're relaxed.
That's what I
So
said.
you got this
They
fun.
slip
You're
up.
rigid like this. You're talking.
That's what I said.
Hello, how are you?
Listen,
You know.
That's what I'm. That's what I
sure
said.
do.
When you're talking with an individual that knows
Don't have
you,
to be a friend.
and it-
Anybody. A white person
Wait
can
a
make
minute,
you
Jay,
relax.
can I say
If you're
something?
around these people here just doing the filming long enough, you'll get relaxed and you'll start letting that slip out. Caesar too. You know?
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, I do not disagree with slang. I disagree with a barbaric, go nowhere dialect, and I will disagree with it forever. Because
Well, Barrett, you're trying to say,
dialects come into existence merely through people being separated and not being exposed correctly. Now, I will not advocate it under any circumstances but those circumstances where it belongs, right here in North Philly, or in South Philly, or whatever. That is the only place. I do not wish to have that language abolished. You understand?
You
But I
said
do
last-
not.
2 weeks ago you said it.
I said it's
get rid
no
of it.
good. It's
But
no
it's not
good
a
in
language.
schools and what
It's
It
have
is a
you.
language.
not a
It
recognized
communicates.
language.
What is language?
For instance,
Words that communicate, right? Phrases and
Caesar.
terms that
Caesar.
communicate. So whether it's slang or whether it is standard English, it's still a language. Don't tell me it ain't a language. It's a language that you have snobbed and got indoctrinated
well,
and
what
like
does-
and have.
what
This
does-
is called
what-
reverse racism
What
almost.
does
you know?
what does
That's not the
Webster?
case.
You've
what
been
does
indoctrinated,
Webster
see.
define?
Both of y'all.
What
you do?
does
You're gonna
Webster
give a kid
define
a sucker
street
because
language
he's gonna
as?
burn your house down?
A sucker.
Yeah, you're gonna reward him. I'm not gonna reward someone and try to promote them taking something someplace where it's not gonna be beneficial to
You've
them.
been made to believe that your own language that you've been communicating with
But that's not
is
your
a
own
bad
language.
It is
That's
your
not-
own language.
Listen to me.
Whites don't talk that
Listen
way.
to me. You know
Who's
why?
Is it their language?
Listen to me.
Is it their language?
Listen
Whose
to me.
language is it?
Listen to me.
Whose language is it?
Listen to me.
Whose is it?
It's the streets language.
Hey, the street. That's the street
It's
out
the
there.
streets language.
That's the street. It
No,
can't nothing.
no,
The street
no.
can't have shit.
That's
the
the
street
physical,
ain't a living
true.
thing.
That's the physical street there.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about individuals that has been brought up without education.
Who's on the street?
Listen to me
Who's
now.
on the street? The
Listen
whites?
to
I
me
got a
now.
good example,
Listen
too.
to me. That's the language of an individual that has been brought up without the proper education. The economic value was not within his family to send him to the proper schooling, to keep him on that level of speaking that said English that he was more or less born into.
I disagree. I
You know,
say
it's
that
something that
it's
you
the
pick up
language
from the
of
street.
maybe deprived.
You pick it up from the street, from talking to
Do
one
you
another.
go home and speak to your mother the way you speak to these
No, I
people out
don't.
here?
I wouldn't dare speak
Would
to my
you have
mother
even
like
spoke
that.
to your father that way?
No.
What way?
Then this language that we call the dialect, we don't even take it home most of the
You
time.
don't take it home, you leave it in the street. You leave
Right,
it in the street. That's where you leave it at. It's a street language. It's
No,
not.
I mean,
it's
you're not
the
really
English
hip with
language.
your mother because everybody's sort of formal with
Not
their
hip
parents.
With your mother.
Yeah, because
Look,
you're
look,
formal with
let
your
me tell you
parents.
something.
Don't
Let
use
me
that
tell
as
you
an
something.
analogy.
So you
Let me
Don't
tell you
use that
something.
as an analogy.
Let me tell
You
you
don't
something.
take it home to your
Standard
mother.
English.
If
home
you
to mom and
cannot,
dad
if
and
you
papa.
cannot be,
You're more formal
now,
with your
notice.
mother.
Remember, you said we use it a lot of times when we're really relaxed around the people that we're talking
Anybody.
to. If you can't use that around your mother, if you're not relaxed around your mother, then you got a problem.
Well, you ain't never relaxed
You
around
know.
your mother, probably.
But
I
see,
don't
the
think
thing is,
anybody's
I
relaxed
respect
around
my
their
mother more
Yeah.
than to use a
Yeah.
street language around
Yeah.
her that I know she has never been in the street a
No.
day in her
No,
life.
the point.
She
No, the
wouldn't know
truth
what
is,
what it
the
meant.
truth is, you put on airs for your mother the way you put on airs for anybody else. That's the whole truth
That's
in a
not- I
nutshell.
don't think it's
That's
air.
what it
That's
is.
it.
We try to make
I
be
don't
like
think
what
it's
we're
air.
not. We try to. It's all right to learn standing English. It's all right to evolve and grow, but we try to put on what we ain't to
But
our
see,
mother,
here's
to
one
our
thing
father,
about that.
to
we
whites.
all try to
you
do
know,
that.
to whites.
We
to-
all try to put on what we're not because we're trying, especially if
I
you-
do it. I ain't saying
especially
I
if
do
you're
it too.
trying
I
to
do
better
it too.
yourself.
I do it.
Right?
Some
and
people
if,
sound
and
very
if you're
articulate,
used to
you know?
used to dealing with local yokels, then all of a sudden you jump into a business and you dealing with this cat coming down here from Norristown or something that got $1 million property up there, and you trying to get him down there to spend $4,000, you would be a total idiot.
I know,
A
you're right.
total
I agree
idiot.
with you. I agree
So
with you.
it's not to the point that you're trying to be.
Standing English is
which
just
you're
as
not.
useful as
Basically, you're
black-
trying to be.
black
Basically,
vernacular.
you're trying to be what you
You can
always
use them
wanted
both
to be.
to
A
gain
more
something.
higher.
You can get
Most
something.
of us use on the street, Pop.
Well, I'm saying you can gain richness
You
and
just
rewards
said
from
some
both
people
languages.
think that I am very articulate. You're talking to a person that you say is quite capable in the black language.
I tell you
Why
what,
did you say that word?
You
Why
take a
didn't
look at
express
you
it
take a
another
look at
way?
all of
No, I
your
was
stars.
using it to give
here,
an example.
Here, you
I
take a
was
look at
using a
all of your
standard
stars,
form.
whether they're black, whether they're white, especially if they came from, let's say, the ghetto, the poor area.
Lena Horne.
When
Yeah.
you
She
see
real.
them on
And
TV,
she
how
talk-
do
say
they
it all the
talk?
time, Lena Horne.
See,
Oh, they
I
use-
bet you
they
any
use
amount
some
of
of
money
that.
they
No.
even went to
Bullshit.
school to help
Bull.
increase their
Bull.
Lena Horne
true
did-
English
Lena Horne-
They use both.
vocabulary
They use both.
because they're
They use
speaking
both.
to the public. They're
Yeah, that's
speaking
true.
to the world.
But
So
they use both.
therefore, you
Using
are a
slang
image.
as
No.
opposed
You know,
to
once you
street
get there,
language,
so you're gonna try to
dialects are
change
two
that
different
dialect.
things.
You're gonna leave
Stop
that in
using
its
slang.
place.
Oh, now you done broke it up into different groups, Caesar.
No, no.
It
Now
all
you-
go
no,
back
I mean, now
to-
you're saying slang,
It
dialect.
goes back to.
Caesar,
It goes back
Lena
to.
Horne
There is
with
a
the same
place.
street
There's
talk
a place
all
and
her life,
time
and she
for
still,
everything.
still do it on stage in front of a million audience. I'm telling you, I've seen her do it.
She right.
Lena
I seen her
Horne
do
do
it.
not change.
That's
She'll
okay.
get there and say, "Look, I ain't gonna change
She
me."
doesn't have to
Listen,
change. She's
you
an
know-
Lena Horne,
entertainer.
Lena
But see how
Horne
he
has
was
changed.
saying how he changed?
Lena Horne changed. When Lena Horne was coming up, Lena Horne's changed. Once you get that position, once
she
you get that
hasn't.
position,
She
right?
hasn't, Jerry.
No,
She
she
said it.
hasn't.
She
She
heard
has
it.
not
You haven't seen her,
changed.
Jerry. You
We
haven't
have not
seen
seen
her.
Lena Horne.
But she may
I
not
saw
have
her in
changed, Jerry,
concert.
because that's an
The
entertainer.
time and place
That's
for
right.
everything, and I think black vernacular is very rich and just as valuable as standard English. I think it's important, and one day, you know, Caesar's going to find that out
I
himself.
can't
Caesar's
agree
gonna,
with that.
Caesar's
I can't
going to
agree
find
with
out. You're
that.
going to find out
I
too.
can't agree with
because
that.
you're going to be in situations
We first
where
have
you
to
I can't
agree
agree with
that
that.
is a true black vernacular. You see, I don't think that people that are isolated and separated, be it due to their own reasons or because it's a forced separation, really, the only reason dialects come to be is because you don't actually have access and you
I
don't
agree with
really
that.
know what's
It's-
going on.
it's not being preached or
Now,
practiced around you from
man,
day
you don't
one.
assimilate with another
See?
group or
Exactly.
something.
That's
Yeah.
what you
So
picking up.
what is the true black vernacular? I do not even speak, I didn't even speak to my mother the way I spoke on the street, and as long as I've lived,
That's 'cause you
people
put an
said
air on
I
for your
spoke
mother, I just
different.
said. You
No,
try to put
I was
Not
very
necessarily
comfortable
air.
with my mother.
No, you wasn't.
Not-
I was
not
very comfortable. There are
necessarily
certain
air.
airs you better put on her.
I know.
You can't curse.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can never
that's
curse
not an
All right,
air.
my
there's
mother.
restrictions
That's
there.
not an air.
So don't
That's
tell
not
me
an
about.
air.
Don't use your mother
I
as
was
an
very
example.
relaxed
You can't
in
use your
speaking
mother
to
as
my
an
mother.
example.
My cousins and my
Good.
uncles taught me.
Uncles, huh?
That's right.
Who taught you, Jerry?
Who taught me
Yeah.
about sex?
Yeah. Your mother, your father,
The streets.
the street. Who taught you?
The street.
The street.
Yeah, well, I didn't learn that.
I know. You're an exception, Carlos. I mean,
No,
it's
I'm
a lot
not. There were a whole lot of people in my community like me. I mean,
I
everybody
tell
do
you
not
something
learn
else
about
now.
these things from the street.
You would take 7 out of 10 people. They got their sexual experience from the street.
That's what I'm saying.
7 out of 10.
But the way he's saying that,
teach you
there's a
all
lot of
sex.
restrictions.
And
Taboo.
it don't matter
That was
what level
taboo.
you are.
Talking about
It
sex
don't
in
matter
the
what level you are,
See,
because
there
you
we go
find
again.
some parents
Talk.
feel it's a taboo to
Talk.
talk to their
Talk,
kids
baby.
about sex.
True, but the other thing is, when you say street, then you can call any other.
Now, here you go. Here it is.
You
Here
go
it is.
South
Hold
Carolina.
tight. Here's this.
I change wherever I
Hold
go.
tight,
You know
Pop.
why I don't try to change? Because I am me. I am me. I'm not asking
No,
you
because
to
your
change.
prejudice, you don't think
No,
black vernacular
I'm
is
not
any
asking
good.
you to
That's why
change.
you don't try to be comfortable
I
around
never
other.
once said that I first said there is no true black vernacular.
No,
I've
really?
also,
Really,
I've also
there is no
said,
true black
I've
vernacular.
also explained myself countless numbers of times
Then there's
that
no
I
true
do
white
not think.
vernacular then.
That's
We're
true,
only
too.
talking about standard English. We aren't
That's
talking
true, we're
about who
talking
it belongs
standard
to.
English.
Standard English then, really. If y'all want to say it ain't this, it ain't that, it ain't shit then.
You
You
know, it's
Ain't
the
nothing.
same thing. It's
just
the
people
same
talk
thing.
in different ways.
Look at this.
Whatever's
Look at
necessary for
this.
you to
Now
function
check
in this
this
life
out.
on
Check
a
this
level
out.
other than your own
If-
intimate
if-
surroundings.
See, somebody made that. They said, hey, if you talk like he said right here, over in England, you can get professors.
change this.
Wait,
Right,
let
you
me
get
say
you,
this.
in England. Wait, you get professors here that you would hear and listen to and think they talk great, but English people over there would say they don't sound like nothing. No English.
All right, Popcorn. For example, if all of a
It's your
sudden,
opinion.
if all of a sudden we were the dominant powers in the world, okay,
black
and we
people.
have our so-called black vernacular.
Hey, wouldn't it be great?
Now, we would insist that when foreigners come to this country, that they are capable of speaking that vernacular and speaking it correct to what we feel is correct. Okay, and if they didn't do it, we'd be saying, oh man, you speak really funny. Why don't
Yeah.
you go and learn how to speak black vernacular?
You can't go to the dictionary and find the word silent.
Obama
Yeah.
cried.
Or right on, brother.
Obama cried.
Bomber class.
You know,
That's Jamaican talk.
It's
They
the same
try their
thing.
street language
It's the
too.
same thing,
And nigga,
right?
I can't stand you saying they black and they are black.
If you got plenty
But they
money,
had their own
right?
way
You
of
used to
speaking.
walking around with $700-800
Bomber
suits
cry.
on, your underwear costs
Bomber cry, what that
$100,
mean?
right?
No.
And all of a sudden you want to go down here and mess around in the ghetto. Are you gonna wear that down there?
No.
If you are, you're gonna get mugged.
Yeah, well, Carlos. That's what
Okay,
he's saying. He
the
go down
same
there and talk
difference.
anyway.
I said
So-
Okay.
I'll be me, and I
He's
will
gonna
be
be me. He's gonna be him. That's true.
And I
But
will
that
go there
still do
like
not
this.
put a
Well,
Well, when you
value
talking about
on.
dress, your mouth is
That
dressed
still do
too.
not
The
put
way
a
you
value
talk is
on the
like
street language.
Showing your clothes too. It's like the way you dress, the way you talk.
It is
People
true.
go, you go down there
That's right.
talking like.
I still will
However,
be me.
now I will say to y'all, you have to do this.
I am
like
not
you
that
know.
extreme.
You know, well,
I am not
yeah,
that
yeah,
extreme.
you're
I
not that
see you doing
extreme.
things on the phone.
Yeah, like,
On the phone for business
See, you're
purposes.
good though.
I
You're
am
good.
not
You're
that extreme.
fantastic.
He
You're
is that
fantastic.
I mean, you go
I
down
wish I
there
could do
like,
I am not that extreme.
however,
Am I
y'all,
that
I
extreme?
swear.
No.
Am
Is
I
he not
that
that
extreme?
I see
Yeah.
you on the
Oh,
phone.
no, I'm talking to you.
Oh no. You talk to me. Hey, look, Rose.
You know, like I said, there's a time to
The only
get
time
down
you
and
catch
there's a
Carlos
time
when
to
he's
get out.
talking to a woman. That's the only time he
Yeah,
really
I
lets his
definitely
shit out.
act for a
When he
woman.
talks to a
No,
woman.
that's true.
If we can get him picking up a woman, then you really find out the real Carlos, because he uses both. He vacillates back and forth from using both languages. You know, street language and standard English.
As long as you know me, I'm sure you're aware that there are certain things I simply do not do. I say
I'm not
within
aware
the
of that.
language.
I'm not
You
aware
see,
of that.
And
You're aware of that.
you are aware of it. Like
That's
I'm
your
aware
opinion
of you.
yourself.
I could go into
Three
things
ways
about
to look at you, Carlos. The way you see
I
you, the
can
way
see
I
you
see
in
you, and the way
5
they
ways.
see you. And that I see you the way I see you, not the way
What's
you
up,
see you.
Season.
That's
I
Dennis.
mean,
It's almost.
Get over here, man.
Dig this.
Park and get over here.
Dig this.
And that
It's
still
almost the
isn't
same
down
thing.
basic.
It's almost the same
We
thing.
hadn't made you conscious. You'd have started something.
Here's a good example
Ask
right here.
Dennis.
Hold
Ask
it.
Dennis.
Here's
Dennis
a
a
good example
person
right
to
here.
act
Yeah.
how I talk.
Here's a good example
Dennis
right
probably talk like you
here. Man,
too.
can I
That's
get
probably
my
why.
word in? Can I
What?
get my word in?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Now, you'll find.
Don't say nothing what we talking about. Let
you'll
Dennis
find-
come over.
Dig
Dennis,
this.
come here, man.
Man, I can't
Come
get
here,
my
bro.
word in.
Go ahead and
Wait,
say
let
it.
me
Go ahead and
bring
say what say, Jerry.
You'll find a lot of people when they talk, right? Dig this.
Yeah.
You'll find a lot of people when they talk. They do not know how to talk without saying motherfucker, son of a bitch, and all this other
Yeah.
good shit. Where do that have a value at? That's street language.
When you're arguing, you're trying to stress some
That
kind
don't
of
have a
passion.
value.
No, that's
You-
when it has
no, no,
value.
no, no, no.
No.
Listen to me.
Hey,
Listen
look,
to
if
me.
I tell
Listen
you
to me.
don't fuck
No.
with me, you understand,
No, no, no,
don't
no.
you?
Listen to
That's
me.
the value
Listen
of it
to
right
me.
there.
But
When I
see,
tell you don't fuck
that,
with me, that's the
that
value.
did not give me the value. The
That
value,
is the value.
that didn't give me the value. The value gave it to me by how you said it.
Don't set
Listen
him
to
up,
me now.
Caesar.
Listen to me.
It's your side.
Listen,
On your side.
Listen, it's
He gonna
not,
try to tell you to talk like him or something.
Look,
you know?
it's not what you
Now, this
say.
is called Steve.
It's how you say it.
I agree,
Now
I agree.
you can substitute "don't fuck with me"
Yeah.
with something else, and you still got the same impact. Hey man,
No,
don't
you
mess.
don't.
You do.
Ain't nothing to
You
substitute.
do.
Don't fuck with
I'm
me.
telling
Leave
you.
me alone.
You can say,
Don't
"Hey
mess
man,
with
don't
me,
mess
Joe.
with me," and
Don't
if you
leave
say
me
it for
alone.
real, you got the same impact on that person as if you cuss.
This is what they want to
The
promote.
same impact.
That's what I want to promote in school.
Caesar,
I didn't
Caesar.
say promote it in school
Caesar.
that way. You laugh all you want,
Caesar.
you silly ass.
Caesar, would you agree with that? Would you agree with that? Caesar, would you agree with that?
Because you take my whole
Caesar.
thing out of context, man.
Would you agree
I
with
didn't
that?
promote it.
It was something you're going to
They
take
already
away
got
from
it
them.
in their head. That's what makes them feel home and comfortable. They hear it when they leave the school. They hear it. That's all they hear. So give them a little bit of that, and then give them the standard English, and they get it all. You know, I mean, make them comfortable so they can pick it up.
Then you're saying we should treat them as if they're foreigners. because
No,
they
treat them
still
as
have
if they're
some
home.
very extreme requirements for foreigners. They have to learn to speak correctly.
Dennis, you want to say something about this, man?
Not really.
Not really.
I don't even know what y'all talking about. You know.
All right.
I don't want to get in the middle of it.
But Carlos, you know my opinion, man. You shouldn't take it out of
Okay,
it.
well, dear,
Because you know I'm not
I
saying teach it in
apologize for
school, and I
that.
apologize for
Okay.
calling you a silly ass, man.
Okay.
You know?
Now, kind of going to say, for instance, I was living in North Philly, okay? Where we speak of North Philly is different from South Philly. So I had to adjust myself because I was scared of South Philly. The girls in South Philly will beat you up.
Yeah.
You're from North Philadelphia. So I went there and had to adjust my way to South Philly, which I did. So I can adjust myself to any given situation as far as neighborhoods or people, all walks of life, doesn't matter. I can adjust, even to the Chinese there.
Every area,
know?
every area got
And it's-
basically
and that's what it
slang
is.
words
You have
that
to
identify
know how
themselves.
to identify, and
You
I
know,
do.
basic
You know,
slang words that
street talk has
identify
street talk,
themselves,
wherever you go.
Like
Right
certain
away,
slang
out of
start
it.
from
They
North
should know.
Philly,
They
certain
know.
slang start
They
from
know.
South Philly. You know, that's
And that's why I
the
say it's
identification
good to
barrier.
know these things,
Sure it is.
and you can move around in all these places. You know when you have to talk what you call proper or standard English, and you do that. When if you're on the phone, you're business conversation, someone you're trying to impress, someone you want to give a certain idea, put an idea in their head, then you talk in that manner. But when you're around people that are your own people that you want to feel comfortable with, you want to be relaxed, you got to use your own cultural things. You don't have to put a negative connotation on it. You got to just do it. I'm not talking about cursing and stuff. The only value I see in profanity is to get across some passion things that you can't get across no other way. And I don't care if you don't agree with me, Jerry, because like you can't tell me to leave me alone and don't bother me,
No,
and I say
no,
don't fuck with me.
no.
And
Wait
there's
a
a
minute
difference,
now.
you know. Like,
You
know?
say,
You know.
hey,
I
you
say,
tell
know,
me, you tell
I
me,
won't fuck
you
with you.
tell
If you
me
say
for
don't
real,
fuck with me,
you
I
tell
won't
me
fuck
for
with you.
real to say don't fuck with me, and I'll say it in the same manner, and I bet you I have the same impact, letting you know,
Go ahead,
don't
demonstrate.
bother me.
Tone of the voice.
Don't
Tone of
the
voice.
tone of voice will
Well,
do
the
it.
holler, yeah,
Not
that's true.
necessarily.
That's
The
true,
tone,
You
but
know,
still,
not
the
necessarily.
tone.
You know, because you
still-
can say, you
I
can
still
say,
don't feel
you can
threatened
say,
by it.
you
Don't
can say,
bother me. You know, I
you can
still
say,
don't feel
you
like-
can say,
I
don't
think-
fuck with me. Hey, baby, what are
yeah,
you doing?
that,
You know
yeah,
what
that's
I'm
not
saying?
a gay thing. Yeah, that's
know?
that's the
So
homosexual
it's not what
thing. You know,
you
like
say,
that.
it's how you say it,
Yeah.
and the emphasis that you
Okay,
put it
I
out
agree
there
with you.
to get your
I agree
point
with you,
across.
but you know,
You know?
But
You know.
everybody understands don't fuck with them.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere in the United States,
Yeah.
to any race, they're going to know what you're saying.
and only a
Sure,
few
sure.
people gonna say don't fuck with me, and they're gonna be the gay ones. You know,
And
You
they
know?
can be real
Everybody
too. That's
else
just
gonna
the way
say,
they
you
do
know.
it in a soft tone.
But I know
But they
gay
can be
guys
for
that
real.
kick a lot of ass, man. Really rumble,
know,
man. I
I
seen
know.
down Rittenhouse Square, a guy about. Any one of y'all can tell me. You too, Dennis. You from Philly?
Yeah.
All right. When you came up, I came to Edison High School, right? The word cock. I was walking around and white boys were saying, hey, man, you know, I took my cock and did this and that. I said, fucking faggot, you know? Then I say, I got some cock last night. They look at me, hey, he's a fucking weird guy too, you know? You know, like what I'm saying? And so that whole valuable. Cock to us was what? What?
All
What?
right, well,
What?
okay,
What was
okay.
cock to us?
Your gentle part.
Yeah, what? Which part? Which part was cock?
Your personal part.
Personal. I mean, what is a dick or pussy, man?
Which part
Okay,
was cock?
now a cock to us was pussy. Down to the white boy is a dick.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, ain't
Cock
that
to me
so?
was pussy.
And I said,
If the
what?
whites
I
were
was stuck in here.
saying-
What is that we're talking about? What
I
is
don't. How could they take something of ours and turn it all the way around?
They do.
You know, and it's a lot of
makes it
other
say-
words like that.
What makes it say it was ours?
Oh, they say it's theirs too. You know,
What
but
makes
like,
it say it was ours?
No, I'm just saying ours in the sense that we were using cock in that sense, and they used it in the other sense.
Correct meaning of a word. All right. Now, suppose
people that are
suppose
familiar
suppose
with it.
cock
Think about it.
always
What does
meant.
Webster
Oh,
say cock-
Got into the streets, I learned the street language. So it sort of changed my vocabulary, right or wrong. Okay. So everywhere you go is different. Everywhere in the world is different.
Yeah.
Everybody had their street language.
Yeah.
You use it when you have to use it.
That's what I'm saying. Do you
And
talk
I
use
do.
street language
Did
sometimes?
you hang
Sometimes.
around with
Yeah,
whites
when you
when
need
you
to.
were in school?
Among
Yes,
younger
I
people
did.
usually.
Up
Yeah,
until I was in the 8th grade, I slept with them and washed their hair, ate them everywhere together. You know, I'm a Catholic. I went everywhere in the world with them. You know, so I knew what to do with them. Out here in the street, that was it.
You just got certain ways of talking,
Sure.
which I hear is similar to white Philadelphia.
Oh, you hear it? Okay.
When you guys were, getting heated over here.
Did you hear him get heated
Yeah,
up? Did
but
you
I'm
hear them?
saying, yeah, we still use it. But I'm telling you, they use it all the time. So they don't vacillate back and forth. The younger group will use it maybe 90% of the time, whereas the older group, like myself, might use it 45% of the
It
time.
seems
You know, you're on passion and on emotion. So if it got that, then it got that. You know, and you can't take that. You know, and one of the richness of standard English that it can get you ahead. Supposedly, it can get you upward mobility. It can impress people. It can do things of that nature. You can sway people. You can make impressions, like the way I would wear a fine suit. Well, if I talk in a certain way, I'm wearing a suit to a certain individual. So that's a value there for standard English. But we gotta break all this stuff down and make it into its own value. We can't put one aside. We can't run and say, hey, you know, like black English is so bad and so horrible that, you know, it's gonna turn all these people off and, you know, because it's not used. Most people who use black English don't really use it that tough among people who wouldn't understand it. It's only usually really used among our own group. Sometimes people who can't use the standard English, they have a difficulty switching it off and on. You know, so my whole point is to take it and use it in its right place and use both of them. Keep your passion, you know, and use it. Because I believe if you learn standard English real well, when it came to those passionate, emotional times, you would not be able fully to express yourself without doing your own, going back to your own culture and your own vernacular. This is my thing. I think it's very valuable in that sense. I rest my case. Dennis ain't got nothing to say. Dennis, why don't you interject something down there and at the same time learn to use standard English to get where you got today?
You adjust the environment. You know, you
Was
adjust
it the
to it.
school? Was
School
it the
got a
people
lot to do
around
with
you?
it.
I want to know. Tell me what.
Well,
what
as you move, if you're in business, you deal with all different kind of people. You know, and if
So
you're
is
dealing
the-
with one person, you adjust to, you know, talk their lingo. You know, to get a point across.
That's important.
You know?
Jerry said the same thing.
Yeah, if you-
It's your isolation too, a big thing. Like in my neighborhood when I first came up in North Philly, around 19th and Columbia Avenue, it was all blacks. The only whites I saw were a few in the corner store and the bill collector. It wasn't until I started confronting and meeting a lot of whites, and that was when I went through my hippie period. You know, even though these whites were hippies and yippies and all that other stuff, they still brought to me that standard English. They might say little terms and stuff that whites in the straight world use that term didn't have, but they still were giving me a bombardment of standard English. And I started picking up these terms and words like articulate and, you know, and simulate and, you know, all kind of things I never heard before. Because in school, even in high school, and I went to predominantly black school, we only learned so much of what you call standard English. And when you went out in recess, all you talked was black English, you know? And you go back in the classroom, and the teacher start talking to you in standard English, you talk back to her or him in your own thing, mixed a little bit with hers, you
I got
know?
one for you.
You got one for me?
Yeah.
Solid, good.
All right.
I agree.
Down the bottom, 34th and Fairmont. Dennis was born and raised down there,
Yeah.
as far as that's concerned, right? Now, within your dealings, TV or whatever, right? If a grown-up, right, that you're going to take your business with that was born and raised down there, that's all they've heard basically all their life is black vernacular street slur slang. And they coming into your store, let's say to buy a TV, a $200 TV. Are you going to talk to them with black vernacular slur slang? No. Okay?
Not
So
really.
Black, wait a minute, black vernacular slur slang is only good when you're out on the corner
Well,
bullshitting around.
I usually approach
That-
the
that's not
individual
worth anything.
the way they approach me.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
All right.
That way
There
I
you go.
adjust myself to
There you
relate
go.
to them, you know.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, but don't they approach you as the businessman and
Yeah,
try
when
to
they-
put
when
the
they-
best
when
foot
they-
forward?
yeah, okay, right,
Okay.
okay.
They even get out of it themselves
Right.
when they go to take your business.
That's right.
When you're out on the corner standing around bullshitting around with the fellas and getting high or
Different-
whatever,
different,
that's and that has no value.
Right.
That has no value. That's what I'm speaking of. The
Well, see,
value
he don't
of
do
the
that a lot
language.
anyway, Jerry.
I'm
See,
not
like,
talking
a
about
man
whether
driving
he
a
do
Corvette,
it.
right?
I'm not
He's
talking
not
about.
gonna
I'm not
jump out
talking
of the
about
car
that.
in North Philly and go,
He
yo,
did
bro,
not
we
get
out.
that Corvette. Look,
I mean, really, he got a Corvette, man. He ain't gonna jump out
He
there
did
and
not
say,
get that
man,
Corvette.
listen,
He did not get that Corvette through business dealings by two. Yeah.
The
What
whole
happened?
vocabulary changed,
The whole
right?
vocabulary
Everything
changed.
The
Yeah, I
whole
went up to
environment
Harrisburg,
changed, you know.
Yeah.
We was at school up there, him and I. You know.
You were?
Early in the year, you know.
How many
Everything
blacks were
changed.
there?
What kind of school?
About 4.
About 4 or 5 blacks.
4 or 5
Satellite
blacks.
school.
How many whites
Oh,
were there?
satellite
Satellite
Son,
school,
the room
yeah.
was
Yeah,
full
but
of
the
them.
difference
See?
here, Rose,
You have to
had it,
change.
Rose.
You have to change.
It's
Rose,
not necessarily
I
that.
got a
it's
point
not
for her that's
necessarily
very
the
valid
white
here.
outweighed the blacks. It's not
Derek,
necessarily that.
That's a good point here. I've been to meetings, okay? I've done a lot of meetings where that was like 50% black, okay? And even if the black population was dominant in that meeting, okay, if it was business, we did not use black English, or the
That's
people
right.
didn't use
Yeah.
it. You know why? Because to them it was not the right language to use because of certain thing called etiquette,
That's right.
you know?
That's right.
I agree with that to some extent.
The
that-
only time you're going to use black vernacular is standing on the corner with your arm
Bullshit.
around your buddy,
No, no,
talking
no,
and
no,
rapping
no.
in a
We
party
can go
where
right in your-
everybody's
we can
high
go
with
sit on your
grooving.
couch.
When you're trying to take your business and you're trying to make yourself, you're trying to increase your level standards of living, believe me, black vernacular ain't going to mean no more than that cigarette butt laying on the ground. That's all it's going to mean. Nothing.
No, I agree with you there, but I'm just
Nothing.
saying.
That's why I say it has no value if you're trying to go somewhere. If you're not trying to go nowhere, trying to do nothing with your life, talk black vernacular all your life, and that's where you're gonna be at. Nowhere.
I made that distinction between black vernacular as being a rich part of one's culture, black vernacular being a part of the culture, an expression of communication that has motion and passion. I also made the distinction that standard English is good to get things like upward mobility or that car that Dennis had or your satellite on your
But that's
roof.
where the
I
value
made
comes in at.
But it's still value in emotion. It's
It
value in
can't
passion.
be.
It's value
It
in
can't
culture.
be.
It's
It can't
value in
be.
culture.
You put on a suit.
You know?
You put on a
There's
suit.
no damn passion
you
and
put
no
on a suit.
accomplishment.
You
Shit.
put on a suit and go for a job and talk black vernacular and see if you get hired.
But
and
see,
I
you're
don't care
still not
what you
making
know.
the distinction.
See if you get
You're
hired.
not
What if I
making a
wanted a job
distinction.
from you and I came in and I was speaking black vernacular?
Y'all
Hey,
still
man,
ain't
I would
lost.
think,
Y'all
I
lost.
would think 10 times even to consider you for the job. Because first thing, that's not good for my business. And you
Okay.
coming in here with your first impression, talking to me black vernacular, no thank you. No thank you, I don't need that. I'm
Don't
trying
let-
to get
if
rid
a
of
customer
that.
come in with a
But
lot of
you're
money,
in
he
a
talk any way
neighborhood.
you want. You'll take his money, won't you?
Say what?
You'll take his money.
Well,
If you say,
what he
yo,
talk-
bro, give me
look,
one of them satellites, man. I got me
look,
$5,000 here, man.
When
You
he
want this
talk,
bread?
When he talks,
You know?
is one thing.
Yeah, I
When
know. You take
talk-
his money. You don't
when
give
I
a shit
talk
about
is
taking his
another.
money, do you?
When
You
I
know?
talk is
Shit.
another.
I know.
See?
And if you had a lot of customers coming in talking like that, pretty soon you're gonna be talking like
You're
that.
not gonna
You're gonna
have
be
it.
waiting for them.
You're
hey
not
man,
gonna
how you
have
doing?
it.
What it be like? You know, you got
are
any
not
bread?
gonna have it. You are not gonna have it.
Why, Jerry? Why do you
You're
say
not
you
gonna
won't
have it. When
I know, it's
people,
probably
when
won't
people
happen.
go out to spend
You
their
got a
money,
customer, man.
I see. When
Go in there
people
and talk
go
to
out and spend
standard
their
English,
money,
man.
when people go out and spend their money, changing now.
I know, go in there and
money
talk to
changes the way you
standard
talk.
English, man.
You know, when you go out there
That's
spending
it.
money,
All
man.
right, you're right.
Hey, you can talk, and you can talk. You're
But
not
see,
gonna
I
talk
agree
black
with you.
vernacular.
We're not in disagreement, Jerry. That's the thing you don't
Okay.
understand. I just want you to agree that black vernacular has a cultural factor.
I can't
and has
see
a
where it has
passionate
a
factor.
culture. I can't
But-
see it.
And
I can't see it.
What you cooking there?
and standard English
tell you what.
has an upward mobility, getting ahead type of factor. You understand what I'm saying, Dennis?
Conversation can make you or break you.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It can make
saying.
you or break you, depending
But I'm
on
saying you use black vernacular for passion, for among your own culture, among your people, for richness, and the way you communicate, just as communication. But if you want to impress someone, if you want to get ahead, if you want to do this, then you use standard English. Sometimes you can mix the two. You can have like a sliding scale where you integrate both of them. A little bit of this, more standard English, a little bit of that.
I guess
To
it
throw in a
depends on
little,
the
you know.
circumstances,
That's
you
what I'm
know.
saying.
Yeah.
Depends. I'm not in
Depends on
disagreement with
circumstances.
Jerry or Carlos fully, but see,
Yeah.
I'm in disagreement with them when they say, "Hey, throw it in the street," and that's it, you know. And I'm in disagreement with that because it took hundreds of years
You're
to
always gonna
develop.
have that. You're always gonna
Yeah,
have
it took
that.
hundreds of years to
Yeah.
develop this type of thing. And if they want to strive to live like the white man and be like the white man, that's all right. I don't care. This is they the dominant people in this culture, and they want to do that, let them do that. But at the same time, don't lose one thing that is you by doing that. Why do you have to give up what's you to get ahead? I mean, you can do both things, you know?
Sure.
Why do that? If they just got the standard English, you got the standard English and your black vernacular. So and it's
Educational.
two always means more than better than one to me. You know, you add that up and you know, 1 and 1 is 2 is more than 1. So hey, I think having both languages
Street
or
talk.
both forms of communication
Street talk.
would be.
You do? What is street talk?
Yeah, what's the difference, y'all? Come over here a little bit. Let me talk to y'all. Tell me,
Answer the question.
while you in school, right?
Yes.
You the teacher. Let me talk. The
She
teacher.
asked him a
All right,
question.
I'm asking a question. I'm brought him over here. When you're in school, right? The teacher talks to you a certain way. Do you like the way the teacher talks to you? And do you
Yes.
understand the way the teacher talks to you?
Yes.
Do the teacher talk to you better than when y'all are not in school, and the way your friends talk to you? Do you know a difference? You can't tell a difference. You know, I don't want to like.
But sometimes the
You told
teacher,
the class
sometimes
Teacher talk better. All right. How do the teacher talk better?
she be talking good stuff like he be saying don't fight in school and all that stuff. Sometimes we learn about drugs. Say don't drink, don't smoke, don't go outside. Anybody offer you some drugs, just run and tell your parents.
Uh-huh. But what words do they use? You have any words that's different than the words you hear around, you know, the house and the neighborhood? What words do the teachers use that are different than words?
Drugs.
But you hear those words. You hear drug and smoke around the street, don't you? I'm talking about words the teachers say that you don't hear. You know?
Encyclopedia.
Encyclopedia. You don't hear that, huh? All right.
Okay.
Is that a good
Have
word?
you ever heard your
Yes.
teacher use, let's say, bro, solid? You heard your teacher use solid?
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Heard the teacher say get down or groove? No?
No.
Do you know what that is when somebody say solid? You know what that means? If I say solid, bro? You know what I'm saying? You don't know if I say solid, bro? You don't, huh?
See, these kids nowadays don't. With the way the
Don't say
ask
these
him a
things.
question.
Let Carlos Caesar ask him.
Let me ask you a question. Listen, have you ever heard of street talk?
Yes.
What is it?
Oh, I know what street talk is.
What is?
It's we in school. Street talk is when you don't use proper English.
When you don't use proper English, all right.
And then in school, the teacher told us to use proper English.
Do you know the difference, though?
Yes.
Give me an example of what street talk is.
Like if you say or ain't we going to the movies and my teacher would say ain't, and then we'll use proper English. Like,
Proper English is like what? Not
Like-
ain't what?
are we going to the
Or are we
movies?
going to the
Mm-hmm.
movie? Yeah.
Now, when you're among your friends, how do you talk to each other?
Proper
Don't-
English or street?
Street.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Okay.
There you go.
There you go.
but do you want to learn to speak the way your teacher tells you?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Why?
they do.
Because
it's the
I
right
wanna be
English.
intelligent.
Oh, okay.
You want to get ahead, right?
Yes.
See, this is the point I was making. You can get ahead with learning the English that your teachers and stuff teach you. But at the same time, this,
Can you speak?
no, don't tell me don't
Let
go on
ask
the
you,
street
okay,
English is
Papa,
good
let
for
me
you.
ask you, can you speak both ways?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what sort of situation what might you speak proper?
Yes.
Like when I'm around grown folks and stuff, I won't talk street talk. I talk
Say
proper
yes.
English.
Why do you talk proper English around grown people?
So
'Cause
they
they're
won't
adults.
think that all I know is about the streets.
And all you.
What about whites?
Is
Do you
bad
talk
news.
Those are the
white?
points
When you're
that
around
you
white
can make.
people, when you're around white people, do you talk the same way?
Proper
Yes.
English.
Proper English?
What do
'Cause
you
my
talk to
mom-
your mom?
Proper English.
Why?
Yeah.
I say yes,
Mom-
yes, man,
my
no,
mom
man.
said-
And when we wake up in the morning, I say good morning, Mom. She said,
Why?
hi. Because it's the proper.
And your
That's
mother
the
wants
proper
you
way
to
to
speak that
talk.
way. Okay.
How old are you? Let me get your ages. How old are you?
8.
8. How old are you?
12.
12. How old are you? 10. Are y'all born here in Philly?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Right here in this West Philly or
I was
North Philly?
born in Pennsylvania Hospital.
No, not.